all the way up to the Valley Forge.
We're going to do a run next year. After load out. After load in, I mean, we're going to run from Oaks back to Philly. A nice squad.
Yeah, I always feel like working out
DRC
after
and
loading
Philly.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like I didn't get enough.
I know it. And then imagine how good you'll sleep that night before the show.
The 2.5 hours.
Yeah, dude. That night.
Sleep.
Imagine how good that
It's usually a great nap.
Welcome to Tea Time, a show that spotlights the growing and changing world of vintage, and not only the clothes themselves, but the stories and people behind them. Covering everything from reselling to sustainability, this is the ThriftCon podcast.
What are we here to talk about today? We are back with another episode of Tea Time. I'm your co-host Mars, here as always with my other two co-hosts. We got Ken, we got Brian. Say hello, fellas.
Hello.
Hello.
What are we here to talk about today?
Philly. Ish. Oaks.
Oaks. We're here to talk about Oaks.
ThriftCon Oaks.
Philly. Parentheses Oaks.
That makes me want to put parentheses on that shirt. ThriftCon Philly.
So let's just start there. Because that is a running joke the entire time. It was a running joke last year.
Problem last year, yeah.
Unbelievable. We fully realize that the Philadelphia Expo Center is not in downtown Philadelphia. I think everyone at this table understands that.
Yeah, we can read a map.
Okay, good. So I'm glad we've gotten that out of the way. There's no reason for everyone. I mean, the comments were unbelievable. And it's all people who, like, again, we've talked about it, didn't really care to come to the event probably anyway. They don't follow us. They're just seeing ads, but they're like, this shit's in fucking Oaks, dude. This ain't Philly. Y'all are imposters, dude. This shit's great. I'm like, or like people then absolutely legitimately mad at us, like, they're trying to trick people.
Socioeconomic claim.
There's that. But then they're like, this is false advertising. They're like, why'd they say it's in Philly? It's in Oaks. They're like, that's because they're trying to trick you. They want to get your money. They're trying to money trick you.
Money tricking.
Maybe a little bit.
Unbelievable. So
It's like 5%.
It's called marketing for a reason.
No, it's just called you're near the largest city, and Oaks has a population of like 400, so we're not throwing the event for Oaks. Yeah. We're throwing it for the people of Philadelphia. This is ThriftCon Philly. We're close to Philly. That's why it's ThriftCon Philly. Like, I don't understand why like people really didn't grasp that. I even looked at all the other shit that happens at that fucking thing in Oaks. They call it Philly too.
Yeah.
So
we can just say that we took the word from the Philly Expo Center, and that's why we use it.
I don't think any of them will ever hear this anyway, but
I don't think honestly, because we do that survey at the end of every show, and it was like 80-90% of people said that they don't care that it's over there, even if their response was, I drove an hour, I drove 2 hours, I drove out of state. I mean, think about the people. We got a lot of people. We got a lot of people who come from out of state for any show.
Right.
Think about them. They don't really give a shit where it is. Like, whatever. I don't care.
It's a destination.
I'm there for this, not. Yeah, we're long past the days of like trying to get walk up traffic. Like that's not our business model anymore. We used to like really consider, are people going to walk up to this? Like, are they just gonna stumble on it? Can they find it? We're done with that. People are buying tickets ahead of time for the most part. They got all the details. They already know where it is way ahead of time. Mm-hmm. It says it all over the place. And everybody who actually went and cared enough to fill out the thing was like, yeah, I don't care. There was like 10% of the people who were like, yeah, you should do it downtown. I want to pay $40 for a ticket and $30 to park. Yeah.
Even like the people that we talk to vendors wise at the event, talking to Mr. Throwback and shit, and like they were like, definitely don't do it downtown. Like, definitely don't do it. People don't want to like the vendors understand for sure. Yeah, the vendors understand for sure. Mr. Throwback was even like, "Fuck going to New York, bro." He's like, "Fuck that."
Thank you, Mr. Throwback. Thank you, Mr. Throwback.
He was like, "Just keep doing Philly, dog. I'll come to Philly."
You're smart, bro.
He was like, "Fuck going to New York. Just keep doing Philly." And I get where he's coming from.
Tickets would be $50, and vending would be $1,500. It would just not work. We'll see.
We'll get there someday. We'll get there. We'll get to New York.
We'll get
It's
that
gonna
Taco Bell
happen.
money.
Well, we'll get there, but like we don't have to rush it, and we don't have to
Exactly.
pay out of our means to try and just like
Hit a city.
hit
That's
a
cool.
city in just because we want to.
Make
That's
a couple people happy in the
yeah,
process.
there's so many hurdles to dealing with downtown venues that we've already covered on this show, and we don't need to cover them anymore than that. But it's way more difficult. The cost gets passed on to us, then it gets passed on to everybody else involved in the event. So, I think Philly is becoming a really cool show where it's not our biggest show, but people are definitely down to go. They're going to go for a little bit longer. I feel like people stuck around a little bit longer because like, why would I drive an hour out there just to like post up for an hour? Like I'm going to drive an hour out there and then I'm going to stay for like 4 hours and I'm going to eat a corn dog and I'm going to like do the whatnot thing. The
$6 Modelo.
yeah.
$5 corn dog.
It could have been 10. It could have been
I was
$10
like,
Modelo.
$6
man.
Modelo sounds pretty
That's a
light
good.
for
That's a
a
good
fucking
price. That's like
convention
a
spot.
regular bar price.
Yeah, that
But I
sounds light.
do think it's turning into a cool show because even last year after we did it, like the day after, we were like, we're never going back. We didn't sell as many tickets as we wanted to. It was far away. The restaurants out in Oaks are terrible. But we made our adjustments to like settle our crew in the city so we could like get to places that we wanted to check out. And as far as like, I think that those responses from the guests that said, I don't really care. It's super insightful. Maybe it won't be the biggest show. Like even Atlanta's not, it's in Atlanta. It actually is in Atlanta, but damn near not.
It's
damn near
close.
not.
And Atlanta, it's only in Atlanta because Atlanta's down like in like the south in a more rural like part. I feel like Atlanta feels dangerously close to how far Oaks is from Philly, but it's an East Coast city. So like those East Coast cities are so compact and it's like if you're not right in there, then it's like, oh, that ain't fucking Philly. Like it's like as soon as you get upstate, they're like, that ain't New York. You know what I mean? So it's like the same shit. It's like because it's like not that far.
I mean, there's arguments about neighborhoods and blocks being different in those types of cities. Like this block isn't this part of South Philly because it's you got this address and like I don't know. It doesn't really happen as much. Probably just in smaller cities. Realistically, like I don't hear a lot of that shit going on in Denver, other than the people who are like, "That's not 5 points. That's this."
Right.
But it's like, okay, it's
Out here,
it's still
you
5
just
minutes
say-
away.
You pretty much just say like, I'm from Denver. If you're like,
And then they're like, do you go skiing in Denver? Yeah, we go skiing in Denver.
Yeah.
We ski all over Denver. Like that's just what we do.
Yeah.
Whitewater
for
rafting in Denver.
Yep,
It all happens in Denver.
But going back to like, so when we left Philly last year, we were like, nah, we don't want to do that. When we were looking for venues to do this year, it was a bit of a different question because it was like, basically you're weighing the odds of like trying your best to go find a place that we haven't been before, paying to go see it, that none of the venues working out, just wasting a bunch of money, or just doing a solid venue at a solid price with a solid community that already exists and we can just like boop, boop, boop. Like we don't have to look at it, we don't have to talk to anybody, we don't have to negotiate. It's like the deal's built. They raised the price a little bit, but like everything got more expensive. So like I wasn't gonna negotiate that. They were just like, it's a little bit more expensive. Okay, no big deal. We just went for it.
Exactly right. It was pretty much because we were trying to make Miami happen.
Yeah.
We were trying to we were looking at like, again, a couple of new markets that we had reached out to. And people just didn't have, there's so many factors, but a lot of it was just dates. Miami wasn't working. It's still not working. And so we had this giant gap in the calendar.
Yeah.
Just threw it out. Like, why don't we just like see if Philly's open? And then once it was like, oh, they actually have the perfect dates.
Yeah, it was the
like,
perfect.
fuck.
Like it was
Well, all right,
6 or
that just
7
pushed
weeks.
us in that direction that much more. And then so it's like, okay, that's the perfect dates. And then you really start thinking about it realistically, like looking at numbers, looking at what happened last year and like how we've grown and we're in a better place and we can probably put on a better show. So it was pretty much a no-brainer. Like after like a little bit of thought, it's like, all right, well, we should go put on a show rather than not put on a show. And yeah, there's just so many other things that we did better this time too. our merch booth looks so much different this time. I mean, we had the same merch booth last time, but like just the merch we're making, our staff there, it's all very, very like it's solid as fuck now. Like we're doing more money there. We're like, so it's definitely, it was for us, we felt like it was a big win. It was a step in the right direction. It was the 4th market that we've went to this year that we went back to. And we've improved our sales, improved our experience, and overall just vibe. So I think that was it was really solid.
Yeah, that is the general idea of what we're trying to do.
Just do better than last
Try
year.
and get a little bit better than
Because if it was
year.
going the wrong way, then you start to think
And
about next year.
and you just can't get in the rabbit hole of like comparing one event to. You can only compare that event to its event the year before. You really cannot. You just get
City to city.
You just get upset.
We already talked about all of our not in Philly comments. Besides that,
Booth sold out quick. Yeah, vendors were really happy, and they were hitting us up, several weeks before too, which was something that didn't happen last year. There's just more awareness of when we're going to be there, how it happens. They have to jump on it quicker because if you don't watch the Instagram stories, you're probably not getting a booth. That's just bottom line. They sold out in, would you say, under 6 hours rather than 6 weeks last year is what Ken was saying.
Yeah, it was
really
quick.
tough. It's really tough. We already have a ton of DMs in our inbox about Vegas. We have people emailing us like, "How do I get a booth? Can I get a booth? Let me get a booth." And it's just we have.
So
to
I
play it as
get
fair as possible.
$1 for every person that asks, "How do I find a booth?" the week before the show.
Brian's gonna get.
So I'm
a
up to like
lot of-
$55. And I'm
$55
gonna
bucks.
throw
That was just
all,
from Philly. That was just from Philly. Wait
all
till
on
Vegas.
black when I go to Vegas.
Yeah, just invoice us for it.
We try to be as fair as possible. We've talked about it before. We're gonna just keep doing it how we're doing it for the time being. There's no like lottery system. There's nothing like that. It is just first come, first serve. Pay attention to the Instagram. Turn on post notifications if you really care that much. But that just sounds weird to tell someone to do, like to be notified every time we say something. Don't care if you do that or not.
Yeah.
Don't care. But like if you
Just pay
want,
attention,
if
yeah.
you want to do the vending thing and you're not always on your phone looking at Instagram, potentially turn on post notifications because we don't send an email out unless you were previously a vendor in that city. If you vended last year in Vegas, then we will send you either a text or an email about, hey, the application's coming out tomorrow, whatever. And then if you want a guaranteed booth, we still have the Patreon open. There is a $75 tier. We raised it to $75 before Philly because we had too many people on there. We already talked about that on here as well, but so we have a $75 tier on Patreon if you want to get it locked in, and that's the best way. What else was going on before that event or leading up to it?
That flight took it out of me. Flights.
Oh, yeah, the
Leave,
staff had
yeah.
to do flights are
Leave
so
my house
expensive
at,
right
like,
now.
6:30.
Buying 15 flights is tough, so we got the staff flights with a nice layover. in
Layover on
Austin.
the wrong side of the country.
They flew to Texas, then flew to Philly. So yeah, that was.
Although we had a
not
20-minute
ideal.
layover, we thought it was going to be crazy, and we're like, oh, it's 20 feet from
Yeah.
the gate. So that
20-minute layover. That's oh man. I guess
I
they
know,
had
they
to
were-
have known
they
it
were
was gonna be right
squeezing
next
it
to
in
it
there,
because that's
but-
really stressful.
We got some pretzels and biscottis though, so maybe that was worth it. I
That
don't
made
know,
it all. That made it all better.
$600 flight.
You know what?
Yeah.
On my flight out there, they offered me the choice between a biscotti and a stroop waffle, and I was upset because I didn't want this two sweet options. I
Yeah.
wanted one savory, one sweet option.
And why is it one or the other? I often say, oh yeah, I'll take both.
And what do they say?
Either sometimes they'll give me it, or sometimes, and I try to say it like in a cheeky way too, not that where it's like I'm like entitled, like I think, like I say it kind of like they know I'm just kind of like testing the water, just like throwing it out there, and then a lot of times they don't give a shit, they'll just give it to me, and then sometimes, well, I have to see if there's enough for everybody, and then come back. Like,
You have endless boxes of
Endless
this
pretzels,
shit.
yeah.
And they're all for me. Oh, you placed that order for this plane 8 months ago. and
Yeah,
you've
they're
actually,
still going
I
through
don't.
2021's
I
reserve.
don't know the whole system, but I'm sure that there's plenty for everyone
that
on the
shit made
plane.
me laugh, dude. Yeah, for sure. That I can't remember what flight that was. That was pretty recent though.
They can get pretty stingy with waters too, man. Like, just get like hurt. Like, and you know what I don't like doing? I really cannot ever bring myself to call the flight attendant over.
Well, not to. Yeah, no.
Like press that button like you're a little robot. You know, they do that in Japan though. We ate a dinner in Japan in Tokyo, not all of Japan, I don't know, but in Tokyo, the whole service industry is a lot different. You don't tip, it's rude. And then when you can just chill all day, and if you want your bill, you just like, a lot of places you just like press a button, you're like, come here, little butler boy. And it's like kind of fucked up, but that's like cultural differences. So I guess I have to get over it. But coming from like me, I used to be in the service industry deep. If I worked at a restaurant and they started installing little buttons and that's how I knew to go over it, bro, I would quit so fucking fast.
My dog has a button to go pee.
Exactly. Like I'm not a robot.
Yeah.
I'm not like I can feel people's vibes when they need something. Like if the glass is empty, you fill it up. I don't just wait for the button. But anyway, weird. I won't press the flight attendant button.
No, not unless something is like I need like something's off. You know what I mean?
Remember that one flight we got on to somewhere and it was like in COVID, so it was like hella seats open and Mars and I were going to like check out somewhere and our seats were in some row like next to each other and the whole fucking plane was empty and our seats had human blood on them.
On the seats.
On the seats, on the armrest, on the thing. And it was
so
like
fucking gross, dude.
It was the easiest way to get an upgrade.
Just to throw it out there.
Did you
too.
hit the button?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, did we hit the button? No, I think we just
it was
verbalized.
during boarding. It was
Blood
during
didn't
boarding,
even-
so we didn't have to.
so,
Okay, so this is
button was dismantled.
Yes, exactly. No, it wasn't even dismantled. We just didn't even. We never stepped foot in the row.
Yeah, we
No,
didn't.
I
we
wouldn't.
saw it.
from the aisle like, what the fuck is that? And so then just like that does not call for the button. That calls for a excuse me.
Not
There's
sitting.
blood on these seats.
And then the poor lady who had to go clean it up. The only thing she was suited with to do that was the little United
hanky?
wet nap thing.
And I think she had some little gloves
And
on
this
too.
was during the time also where like all the airlines were like, yeah, your flight might be delayed because we're going to take a half hour
to clean
to
and, like,
completely clean
right.
top to bottom
And
your
then they're
whole
like,
entire plane. It's like, no, you're
okay.
not. You're not doing that.
Not
you're
doing
fucking
anything.
I think they like.
Spray it with
I
some
think I
Febreze.
don't even think they spray. I think it's like a UV thing, and it's
Yeah.
all about bacteria. But like, there's a difference between sanitizing and washing, and like sometimes shit needs to be washed. Like that was blood, and your UV light didn't kill it. It's alive.
Probably
It's
baked it
still
into
alive.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she came through with the wet nap, and it was so sad. I was like, oh my god. Okay.
Oh, dude, that shit was so.
Anyway, if you're a flight attendant call button presser, fuck you, bro.
yeah, it's got to be like an emergency.
We had a good pre-party in Philly at P's and Q's, and Two Robbers sponsored it or donated product to us. So
Yeah, we did a
everyone
whole
was
collab with them,
enjoying
too.
the delicious seltzers while wearing their T-shirts if they chose to purchase them.
We
Those
almost sold
shirts
out
are
of all
sick.
of them.
Their shirts are sick.
We have only like a small handful left between the show and between the pre-party. We sold them. People were going up and buying them, not even knowing what either companies were
Yeah.
or carrying. They were
Or
just like,
just
"This is a
carrying,
sick
yeah.
design."
That was so much.
No, it was just
They were
such a
really
good
nice.
design,
Yeah, they were
man.
really nice blanks. That they
Great
used to,
shirts,
yeah.
great design. So that was awesome. The pre-party was great. Definitely, shout out to P's and Q's. Shout out to Key, the whole team over there. Sorry for the boys being late. We're late to every pre-party. We're late to every pre-party. It's just tough. Like that Friday is when the whole team gets in, and it's usually in the afternoon. So it's just a lot.
landed at
Especially,
5:30,
well, I mean,
yeah.
to the other side, to the East Coast, there's no way to not get there in the afternoon.
Right.
And so that was just tough. We got in. Ken and Crisanti went to Angelo's. Fucking shout out to Angelo's.
Crisanti didn't come. I went by myself.
Oh,
It was
he
a
wasn't with you in
fucking
that one?
miserable, terrible mission. I
Yeah,
hated
yeah.
it.
Okay. So
Fucking solo.
Sucked.
thank you to Ken for going to Angelo's and during like the thick of it, too,
Yeah,
like 6 p.m.,
6 p.m.
5:30
on a Friday, bro. There was a line of 40 people. They were just screaming
shit.
people's names. people were getting upset. They didn't hear their names. The pizza wasn't fresh. There was drama, bro. It was a movie.
That shit was amazing.
A movie that I don't, I'm not a movie guy. So.
It resulted in Ken hand delivering to the Airbnb, like just minutes before we got there, just 4, 5 beautiful pies, cheesesteaks. So that shit was delicious. We nervously and anxiously ate real quick, or at least I did.
I mean, I've never had a shower pizza before, but that's what had to happen.
Dude, I was
Shower
stressed
and
eating that
to take
shit.
the pizza.
It was
Yeah.
delicious,
Wow.
but
And the
man, I definitely
Modelo,
wasn't like
pizza.
able to just sit and like enjoy that meal.
It's like
at all.
Kramer making the
That's doing
dinner party meal in the fucking
washing his
shower.
vegetables. in
But
the
so
shower,
after we
yeah.
did that, got to the Airbnb, we did make our way finally to the pre-party at P's and Q's, and it was sick, man. That is
Cool
such a
spot.
nice shop. It's super dope. Key told me the whole story of it too. I don't know if anyone is familiar with. Oh man, there's like a. Okay, I'm gonna butcher this, so I'm not gonna fully go into it. But there's basically like a ghost or alien encounter and an abduction story that happened in Philly, and it was like this whole ship that got abducted, and a lot of people buy into it and believe it. And so that shop, P's and Q's, because they used to have a store called Abacus, I believe, and that was in Chinatown. Very sick, bodega vibes. Has like, it had like chickens hanging in the window. It looked like a Chinese restaurant, but then you'd go into a shop. Super, super tight. They're OGs in the streetwear game, especially in the East Coast and especially in Philly. But this store was supposed to be an upside down version of the ship that was abducted. So that's why it's all wood. And it has it's angled, so it almost looks like like the inside of a ship would, and shelving and things like that. And it was supposed to have the bow for the ceiling, but he said his contractor kind of fucked him at the end and didn't think he could do or didn't want to do the ceiling, so didn't do that. It was going to have a whole different name. The name was going to be the name of the boat, which that escaped me, so I apologize there. But yeah, I honestly, just the thought and intention that went into that, went into all their curation, the store before that. Love that shit. Shout out to you guys.
The
Shout out to Key.
Eldridge?
I think it was Eldridge.
Okay, yeah,
think
that's
it
as
was.
close as I got.
The Eldridge. I'm going to say yes, but if it wasn't, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I just love working with. Those are the type of people that I want to connect with. That wasn't a vintage shop. We didn't do that was the first time we haven't had our pre-party at a proper vintage store. But just that's just a testament to what they're doing and who they are in the scene. I mean, it was great.
Cool.
Dude.
Had cool
Well,
patio.
Everyone who shops our shit also shops that stuff.
That's what I was gonna say. I think the whole intention of this project, this little experience that we're doing with ThriftCon, is to essentially one of the end goals is to merge vintage with fashion and streetwear. I feel like in the past and still a lot it's viewed as like a secondhand thing or just a subsection of a way to dress and buy and stuff. But realistically, and I say this all the time, is that all these pieces that are coming out right now, I mean, look at furniture, look at clothes, look at everything, is inspired right now by the 90s and 70s, a lot of 2000s and stuff too, but all that shit already existed then. So, you're kind of, I think one of our end goals is to kind of merge the perception of vintage or secondhand piece with actual fashion, which is, if you're way into the fashion shit, you already recognize that and understand that. But if you're just if you just buy shit whenever and you just wear it, you may not really realize that you kind of see them as two separate things, when in reality they're not so much.
Yeah, absolutely. That was amazing. I love the pre-party. It was great. I got a couple pieces for myself. I got some P's and Q's shorts, a P's and Q's tee, a little Hoochie Daddy Stussy shirt that's see-through. So I was pumped, dude. I thought it was great. And yeah, the two Robbers tees, man, those are great. The seltzer was awesome, but I just can't talk about the tees enough.
And then once
the seltzers, I'm not saying this just because they gave them to us for free. They were really good, low sugar,
very solid.
good
Another
flavors.
Philly brand too. Shout
Yeah.
out to Doug,
Really
Dougie
cool,
Playlist,
really
Dougie
cool
Playlist from Kid
branding.
Super.
Yeah.
That's who put us in touch. He was like, "Hey man, just put us in an email. They're in Philly. You guys are going to Philly. You should do some stuff together." And that was on Monday, the week of the event.
Yeah.
Doug sent that email.
and it got done.
And then on Monday afternoon, we talked. The co-founders were in Italy and a trip through Italy. So he just put me in touch with this creative director and then his brother who lived in Philly. And within 2 days, our boy Crisanti out there, he linked me with the screen printer. So shout out to the guy who did the prints. And immediately it was done, dude. It was done. By Thursday, we had shirts in hand after talking and meeting them on Monday.
Nice, dude. Two Robbers is also opening a tap room somewhere in Philly, so be on the lookout for that. No idea what the ETA or time frame on that is, but they are doing that. So it'd be I would imagine that it's going to be a cool place to go to.
I bet it's a vibe.
That's like one of those stickers and logos and branding, like you just want to put places. It doesn't sit in your drawer.
No,
After the party, we were going to go to a bar, and Derek kind of grew up in Philly, and he is a lovable, swell guy. But he's got some shortcomings when it comes to logistical things, I'd say, and just overall, just like working his brain the way it's supposed to go.
Oh, that's rough.
No. He's super smart guy. But he gave us okay. So he's handing us the phone for directions. He hands us the phone to this bar. I grab it. I hand it directly to Mars. We start driving there, and then we're like on the highway, basically to Oaks. And we're like, okay, well, this is cool. Making fun of the names of the little things that were passing neighborhoods and shit because they're all named really weird. And then eventually we're like, well, this cannot be right. Ends up that Derek handed us the directions to a place that was 23 or 24 hours away, which was hilarious. And he will never hear the end of that. And take it back. He doesn't have a brain deficiency in any way. That's a little fucked up. But it was really funny because
it was funny.
But then we got back into that bar. We listened
to
the
bar was Blind Barber, which is a
God.
really dope spot. Again, I like shouting out the spots that we go to in every city because just like the streetwear spots, we find good restaurants, we find good bars. We like doing that shit just as much as we like shopping and doing all that other stuff. So yeah, the bar that we went to that night was Blind Barber. It's cool. I think there's a couple in other cities as well. You literally go through a barber shop and then you have to it's like speakeasy vibes. You like walk through, but it definitely wasn't speakeasy vibes that night. It was like a line outside and like people all in the barber shop and a guy security like, this is not where you hang out. Go in the back. Just like all pissed. I'm sure he's just yelling that all night.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah. So it was definitely hectic. That place was lit, dude.
The DJ was doing that like quintessential that girl
God.
that's on TikTok right now. That's like how the DJs be at White Clubs.
The White Clubs DJ. Like
he was doing.
That was what we
like
were
he
listening
did that. Like he might as well just like played her TikToks because he would just play some famous song, chop it up a little bit, and then drop it. It was crazy.
Saturday morning was rough. Everyone woke up pretty hungus.
Sucked.
Yeah, and then we got it together and we got to the venue for load-in at a decent time. Definitely earlier than we did in Houston, which was like
way earlier.
Yeah. So that was good, and load-in went pretty much as expected. We got through it quick, minus the sound guys.
Oh yeah, that we almost had a completely like musicless event, which would have just been crazy. It was awful. It was so bad. They didn't tape anything down. They had just a pile of wires sitting in this room. It was so bad. And I kept calling them on because they were supposed to do it on Friday. I called them on Friday. I was like, how'd it go? Why didn't you call me to tell me how it went, especially if it didn't go well? So on Friday, I was like, how'd it go? He's like, oh, it didn't go. We gotta get over there. We gotta get back over there. I'm like, okay. And then, calling him all day Saturday. The guy doesn't show up until like 2. Meanwhile, everybody's got to leave by 4. He doesn't get it done. He got it done enough for like some of the speakers to play. And then like the next day from 4:30 until basically 9, I just had to like figure out how to make this work. And I have like a little experience in music, like shit like that, but I'm not an audio tech. I got the majority of the speakers to play at an okay volume, and I think the show did have sound. Like you noticed that there was music, but man, like it was kind of a hazard. They didn't have any tape. They didn't tape the shit down. I used all of our tape. Like some of it was taped down with fucking box tape and shit.
I mean,
like,
someone did just kick up one of the chords at one point.
oh, they did?
Cut the music. Yeah, so that was chill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That one was actually covered. It was just like the power to everything, just like on the step blocker. Like, how did this end up in here? Like, this is definitely not where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But we did pull that out. Those guys I'm cool with those guys enough because they obviously were like, yeah, we fucked that up. You did really, really bad. But that was probably one of my worst like load-ins I've had in a while. Because like back in the day when we used to load in everybody and mark the booths and set everything up all that morning, those ones used to be pretty crazy and suck. But this one sucked. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a little
that we used to
behind the
fucking-
scenes action is like, I don't know if people realize like the talent we have on the team, we each know enough to kind of get by and get through it.
Yeah.
But if you guys didn't know music,
Yeah.
it would have been a silent shopping experience
For sure.
for everybody, and it would have been just awkward.
Or
just,
like if I
driving
didn't-
in the car with music off, awkward. Just
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. So after that shit happened, I mean, load-in went solid for vendors. We told all the vendors
Yeah.
to bring their own carts and wheels and stuff, which we'll do every single time. And you should have done that before we told you to do that because you're fucking bringing a bunch of shit in, you idiot.
Yeah.
But
But you
anyways,
don't have your own cart. It's
but
phenomenal.
But we told them to do it, and they did, and they listened, and that's how the world should work.
So I got a cart from Harbor Freight, and Harbor Freight is usually like the junkiest stuff, right?
Yeah,
It
that's
breaks within,
that's like
yeah.
the clearance store.
Yeah, but I got a cart, and it's Costco made, not Costco, but Costco, and it does 3 different variations, like the dolly, the actual cart, and like a angled dolly or something.
It's a nice cart.
It's $125. I've moved an incredible amount of stuff.
You
with
just
it.
scared away
it's
like 85% of our audience by saying how much that was. They were like, "Ooh, they just like
too much for a cart.
Hey,
It's
everybody
like,
should
really,
invest in a
yeah.
cart no matter what
cart.
you're doing, man.
Yeah.
Because like you
Fold
gotta
up
move
something, like,
apartments. Bring your cart.
Yeah.
You gotta prep a big dinner party. Bring your cart. What else would you have to
estate
do? There's
sales,
a lot of
flea
stuff.
markets.
Yeah,
Bring
lot
a
of
cart.
stuff.
When you don't know what you're going to find.
You're gonna skate through the streets of Philly on your cart.
That giant
have
naked
to.
statue
Yeah,
that
you
you
wanna
find
do-
at
you
that
wanna
estate
do a-
sale you want to go home with.
A cool. What,
your
Put it
cart.
on your cart.
you want to do a bobsled down
Yeah, ride that cart.
ride that cart, man. You know, you gotta train. You gotta train.
Are you in a boxcar derby race last minute? You forgot to build one? Boom.
Bring your cart.
100%. That
Put a
cart.
box on the cart.
Yeah,
and
just
you're-
cardboard box in the cart. Who are our favorite vendors? Brian, did you have any?
all of them, just like my children. I don't choose a favorite.
Oh, wow. That sounds
I've
like
got-
you were lying.
Yeah. No, there were, and it kind of goes back to, last year and year before. And this whole industry is changing for the better. And a lot of the booths, some of the booths still suck. You guys got to like up your game. And if your sales didn't do as well as you thought, maybe just reevaluate what you're doing. But some of the people we had, like Rare Vintage had a goalie. It was a child goalie,
7 years old,
7 years
pretty
old,
sure.
and he was there all day in his pads, blocking shots. And did you win T-shirts? Is that what?
No,
he
it
had
wasn't
going
even
on?
T-shirts. He had this whole bin full of stuff, and it was like good shit. It was either, it was a lot of sports memorabilia, like
Yeah.
little toys, old toys, and action figures from the '90s, wrestling action figures. He had authentic NBA logo wristbands and like headbands, and like Iverson headbands, just like all in the package from the '90s, like all dead stock. Everything he had was in the package. So yeah, you took 3 shots. If you hit one, you got to grab something out of there, and if you like hit all 3, yeah, you got something bigger. I can't remember what the all 3 was.
That's
Um,
great.
It was cool.
Yeah,
People
doing
were there
stuff
all
like
day
that.
having fun.
Retro
I
It was-
doubt
Original had
anybody
something like
hit
that.
all 3 because that little man was holding down the box.
Yeah.
that was, and like
That was a
also
low center
like,
of gravity,
You
though,
also
like-
just like,
She's
what
like,
you're
"Fuck
gonna
you,
just
kid.
piece
Hurry,
this
go
kid up
boom."
real quick? Yeah, yeah. Like,
Yeah, we just embarrassed
I
this
tried to
child.
like top shelf my first 2, went over the bar, and then I was like, all right, and I just like shot it right at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, fuck, like shit.
Great idea.
It was
though.
funnier,
like a
too.
whole family affair, right? His dad was there, and is it his sister he vends with, or is that his wife?
That's his sister,
It's
and then
his
yeah,
sister.
that was his dad was there, and then yeah, that was his homie and his homie's son.
Yeah.
And so it was really fucking good vibes from that one too. The kid was
Yeah.
like, the bet was because I was like, well, what happens if I lose? Then what do you win? He was like, you got to do a cartwheel. So I had to do a cartwheel when I lost.
Oh, shit, I can't do cartwheels
I can't do
anymore.
either. I don't know. And we got it all, a whole thing on film too. We had like a halftime interview with him because he was sitting there eating. Didn't want to talk to me, but we got it out of him anyway. And then, the cartwheel, I was like, oh shit. But moment I lost, I'm just like, I just went for it.
Yeah.
Did it. The dad said it was acceptable, so it was acceptable. But I need to check the tape on that.
Yeah,
I got to go to the instant replay.
I don't know if I could do a cartwheel ever again.
I
think
never.
that's behind me.
I don't think I've
Yeah,
ever done a proper cartwheel,
Yeah,
like one that looks good. That someone was like, "Oh, that was like, a good looking cartwheel." I
Yeah.
don't think I ever did that once in my life.
We did get a bunch of like way more than we were anticipating clothing donations.
Yeah.
And the place that we actually ended up giving them to, I was really pleased with. A lot of times we give them the kind of like, the most Googleable ones, and they're like kind of bigger, and it's just like, it feels a little weird. I really liked the one that we dropped these off to. It was small. I could tell it was run by like only like 3 or 4 people. It's called St. John's Hospice. And man, I walked up and, they asked me all the questions. They were really stoked once they figured out how much shit I had, because I just kept coming. He was like, wait, so what did you do? Like, where did this all? And I was like, it all came from this and this. So strongly encourage people when we're doing the clothing drives to not donate the stuff that is shit, obviously, because this is going to a person, a real deal person who isn't buying it. It's someone who needs it. So like consider like, stuff that's actually good. Realistically, stuff that you might sell is the type of stuff that we're looking to be donated, because we don't want it to be donated and it to just be considered too bad to even give to one of these individuals. So don't do that. We don't want it the line to stop there. We want it to live a little bit longer. So I think you guys are donating the right stuff. Just at glances, people are still like digging through the donation pile as if it's a free pile. Nothing is ever free. We're all adults. We should know that. But the donations were like exceeded our expectations. And I think the shelter really fit the bill for like where we're trying to get it to. They were super happy, and dropping it off was pretty easy considering it was in downtown Philly, and I lined it up that day because our other donation partner never called me back. But rest assured, the people who got those donations needed them. It was a really cool organization, a small organization, and I think they're doing the right stuff there.
Right.
Yeah, because it's not like we're donating to a place where they turn and sell it. They actually give it out for people to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's like
and he was like, we'll get this stuff on backs today, and we will use every single thing in these bags. And
Yeah,
like,
that's
no one's ever said that. I was like, oh shit, okay, yeah, like
Okay.
word.
Yeah, I
I feel
think
like we're getting some karma points there. Doing
I
good
mean,
things, yeah.
a little bit. We probably
got a lot-
lost
I got a
some
lot
from
to
doing
make
some
up
other
for,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah, we probably lost some along the way as well. Other cool ass vendors that were there. Retro Original came out. He had
I
a
like
little
Lucas,
Hup
yeah.
booth. That was awesome. He's just a cool personality too.
Yeah.
He was just fucking flying around the room all day.
He's got all the memes on.
Was in the
TikTok
Whatnot
and
live. He's
Instagram.
like, while he
Yeah.
was vending, he was doing it all. The Future Past brought out the East Coast Connection, that whole thing. They
Past,
do
yeah.
their they kind of do like a little market and meetup that they're having in New York. That's on a bit of like a smaller scale and just getting like the community out there. And he brought a whole squad of them and vendors with him from New York. So that was really cool. They had a great booth, a lot of grails, a lot of crazy pieces, things that you will probably not ever maybe see in person again. So always love going to their booth and stopping by. Who
I picked
else?
up so there's a smaller one called Junk Drawer, and they turn like the littlest of toys, like 80s, 90s, 2000s toys, and they just make them into earrings.
Nice.
It's like the little pieces that get lost, like Polly Pockets and
Sick.
Stitch and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
I like
picked
that.
up a pair each for my girls at home, and they absolutely loved them. And it's like a really cool. And they did 90s con, and they said that ours was better.
Oh, cool.
So full
Amazing.
stop.
Amazing.
I knew that, but I had to get it out.
Yeah, I
of
don't need confirmation on that end.
Shout out to Shop Monarch Studios too. He had a great booth.
Man, he sold
Everything
lot.
under and he didn't bring one item over $50.
Yeah, he
came
sold
with
a lot.
everything under $50, and it was like one he was just doing deals like 1 for 25, 2 for 40, like 3 for 50, like that type of shit. Yeah, shout out to Whatnot for being a part of this one. That was our 1-year anniversary with Whatnot, so that was pretty cool. Been working with them for a full year now, and it was a cool. They had a whole bunch. Their entire team was at Fan Expo in Toronto that weekend, so we were kind of manning the ship ourselves, but still a great experience. Thank you to Tillish at Tillish. She came out and literally brought this whole crew with her, like everyone on Whatnot that she's met and all these sellers. XV Steels and Vintex Tees. There's literally fucking 15 of you, so I'm sorry that those are the only 2 handles that I remember. But yeah, they had the best vibe. They were just running around the room all day. They participated in the auction. A bunch of people participated in the auction. Had like 100 people in front, like 150 people in front of the stage, and we started. 150 people in the room digitally. People bought stuff and bid and won things in the room live for the first time. So that was sweet.
That was real cool, yeah.
Good to see. So yeah, shout out to Whatnot and the Whatnot Army who came through. Doing it all again in Vegas for sure.
They're already locked in
have
for
a
Vegas.
literally have a whole
The
like
day
25
after.
plus people locked in for Vegas from Whatnot. Different sellers coming out. They're going to be going live, doing giveaways the whole time, and then we're getting things going with Whatnot, the company as well, to get them hopefully just a cooler, bigger presence on the show floor back in Vegas and LA.
Who's the magic guy that's in Vegas? Chris something?
Chris Angel?
Chris Angel.
Yeah.
Bro, what is there's
Yeah,
there's
there's
so
million
The
many
Chris,
guys.
the one
But
Chris.
he's the one.
He's the
dude.
one.
He's the one.
Chris the
Angel,
guy
yeah.
on the billboards. The guy.
Yeah.
Have we invited him? Can we get him there? How much?
Oh, he'll probably just pop up. Yeah.
Just-
Yeah, you know.
as long as he got his ticket, you can't just show up without a stamp.
You can't poof in and have a ticket. The whole point is that you just poof.
You just
Yeah.
poofed.
Yeah.
Poofed.
I want to see him
And
poof a
with
stamp
with
onto
the stamp.
that.
With the stamp, yeah. Yeah, he poofed with the stamp that we already had. He knew what it would be.
Yeah.
He's invited.
After the event, we got lit again. We went to Dandelion. The Dandelion right there in Philly. It was really close to our Airbnb. And it was fucking chill. It had like a great little like back patio. They had some pinball. We were damn near. There was 15 of us.
Oh
and,
no,
like,
that
4
was
other people.
Dandelion was the one down by the park. What was the one? Lorraine's.
Oh, that's
the-
right.
Lorraine's
okay, so
was
Lorraine's
sweet,
was
yeah.
that night. Lorraine's was sweet. And yes,
It was
that is
divey
correct.
and like
Very
black
divey.
lights.
And yeah, it was
the right
We were-
speed.
Yeah,
It
we
was
were
the right
perfect.
speed.
We were like everyone that was there too. So
Yeah.
it was chill. It was like just pretty much our people.
Cheap drinks too.
Loved that. Loved that.
Yeah, Kai bought a round for everybody in the bar, and it was like $65.
Yeah.
And he
When was the
like,
last time?
And he was like, "Nah, like that's tequila, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "But it's the one I told you, right?" And she was like, "Yeah." I don't know how that happened.
Yeah,
It was
that's
sick.
But it was $65.
It was good too. It was a really good tequila.
That's
Whatever.
fire. Love that. Just love that
Whatever it was.
he decided to do that.
Lorraine's, yeah.
What a guy.
I love Kai.
Shout
Be an
out to
annual
Kai.
thing.
Yep. So that was Lorraine's, and then day after, always tough. Airbnbs are always like, checkout is at 10 a.m. And we just
Do your own laundry
okay,
before
cool.
you
Well,
leave.
we'll be there. Yeah, they
And
asked us
we
to do some
we
laundry.
wake up at 10:30.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so everyone gets up around 10 or 10:15. This happens every single time. I'm always getting messages from the people. Cleaners showed up like while we were there and were being super weird. Like super weird.
Like, it's all
like,
good.
yeah, like
Yeah,
there like
right.
because there was trash in bags, like in the kid, like it was just like crazy. So yeah, Airbnbs are unbelievable and they like seem so strict, but we'll never not get an Airbnb because you want the $4,000 or the however many thousands of dollars you're going to ask me and then upcharge me for a cleaning fee. So I don't know. That whole thing is
yeah.
absurd. I'll never stay in an Airbnb unless it's with this giant group. I'm team hotel all the way.
Yeah. Solo.
Hotels have had it
Team
figured
hotel
out
all the
for
way.
hundreds of years.
Yeah. There was a
Thousands,
stretch of time
perhaps.
where I was
Thousands.
doing B&Bs, but I am fucking fully off that shit. Team hotel all the way.
Yeah.
Then we just went around and did the Philly thing. We went to Independence Square. We went to, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay, we had Liberty Bell, walked around. Dele and Joel like snuck in a tour of like one of the spots. So that was pretty fun.
They got to like hold the Constitution and feel the paper.
Fondle Nick Cage.
Yeah, it's just
Blow their nose with the Constitution.
And then that was when we went and had a little drinky poo at this place called the Dandelion, which just felt like a proper like English pub. Felt like we were either in Ireland or like literally felt like we were straight out in Dublin.
Yeah, it was
so that was a cool spot. And we
Over
were all
by like
absolutely
Rittenhouse Square.
Yeah,
kind of?
yeah, right by Rittenhouse. We were absolutely worthless too. All of us just like barely talking, just like crying into our drinks. But it was so that was fun. It was a good way to end the trip. It was chill, and then we got out of there.
Yeah, it was a good show, man. I can pretty comfortably say that we'll probably go back next year. I think last year on this podcast I said that we wouldn't, but I think we will. I see no problems with it.
Before we get out of here, let's just anything you guys in the news you guys want to talk about. I saw something on my Instagram. It was on Nice Kicks. It looks like a whole bunch of Nike trailers, trailers carrying Nike shoes in Memphis just got fucking ransacked on.
Nice.
Look at this. Bunch of dudes came up, and it's funny. Go to Nice Kicks, you can see it. It is just tons of boxes strewn out of like 3-4 semis that looks like they were probably at somewhere getting packed, and then also like then people like listing them.
No, yeah, those are shipping containers, and then they landed to where, and then they're going to distribute them.
Just grab them.
That's awesome.
So
I'm happy
so
for
great.
them.
And also a bunch of people's orders are getting canceled.
Shame.
Unfortunate.
That is a real shame.
A real shame.
Buy less shoes anyway.
Okay, shall we be done?
I think that's good. Shout out Philly. It was fun.
Shout out to Philly.
And
Shout out to
shout
Two
out
Robbers. Shout out to Whatnot. And we'll see you guys.
We should
in,
ship some
in
Two Robbers
Vegas.
out to Vegas. Can we get shipped?
Yeah, I'll talk to him.
It's
I'll talk to him.
alcohol distribution's all weird, but
Yeah.
Just for
It is
us.
weird.
oh,
To the Airbnb.
Yeah, not for, yeah.
yeah.
No, that's
for
the
us.
B&B.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
pussy
okay.
play. That's pussy.
Yeah,
I
we
like
can
it.
do that. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.